All right, we are back, and hopefully you guys are joining the second stream here, because that was a little weird. But we're back up and running. The stream looks healthy. So we'll just wait for Chewy to get back on here, so he can let us know how's it going. Chewy, where you at?
Oh, I think he went to the store.
You went to the store?
I think so. Can you check?
Well, someone's bound to check. Hopefully Randall gets back on again. But anyways, guys, let's just go ahead and continue on. Steph, what were we talking about?
We were talking about how...
There you go.
The last thing I remember is talking about the manipulation.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about, like, what are the different traits of a toxic relationship.
Yes.
Okay, so one of the traits was manipulation, and the other one was obsession that we were talking about. Let's see, what are some other toxic traits that we can find in a relationship?
Insecurities.
That's good. That's a good one.
Dang, what else is there? I guess verbal abuse.
Okay, yep, verbal abuse. Just any abuse in general. So verbal, abuse. Emotional abuse, physical abuse.
Yeah, I guess.
Is there such thing as mental abuse?
Yeah. Chewy scared me for a second. I'm so sorry. Chewy popped his head and scared me. And I was like, oh.
Chewy literally he's also here in the house.
Yeah.
And just for you guys context, and Chewy literally just popped his head in the studio window. And it's nighttime. So that was trying to traumatize us.
I just saw his eyes. I just seen the eyes and it scared me.
Because he's wearing all black and like a black hat too.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
What else though? I guess because in the toxic relationship that I had, it was, I guess, just a lot of manipulation. It's passing on.
Manipulation. Pull your mic closer a little bit.
Manipulation and a lot of I don't know. We were really young, so it was. I mean, I'm still young, but we were younger.
So insecurities was definitely a big part of it too.
Yeah,
because we all have insecurities when we were younger.
It was a lot of insecurities, and I mean, I don't even know what else it could be. That's like the main, big things other than physical abuse, but or trust. There was a lot of trust issues.
Trust issues. Okay. Was there any narcissistic behaviors? I mean, manipulation is a big...
I feel like toxic is narcissistic.
Well, narcissism is toxic.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like, but yeah, I think there was so much. It was hard to keep track of it. And like I said, then I became a little bit too, but I had my reasons.
Hey, I mean, just like it says in Proverbs 22, 24 through 25, what we were talking about earlier, is that toxic traits or traits from anybody that you hang around will rub off on you.
Yeah, can be given.
And so you start to portray those different things too.
Yeah.
But like some of the things that like I dealt with in my toxic relationships were definitely manipulation, and I'm trying to like put this into like a trait, but I'll kind of describe it to you. So the person that I like, my ex-best friend, like he was like he put up facades. Facades are another
Yes.
Huge trait.
Two-faced.
Right. So like I was kind of obsessed with him as a person, and like, and I like highlighted the good traits of him so much that I was basically lying to myself about the bad traits. So I was using the good traits to kind of like cover up the bad things that I didn't, that were the things I didn't like about him.
Yeah.
And so when it eventually caught up to where like the things that I didn't like about him started to like grow larger and larger in his life, on his side. And so he started to portray those kind of toxic traits more and more as the relationship went on. So eventually those traits kind of like outweighed even the good ones, and so that's when I was just like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
But so that's kind of like a big one is putting up a facade. So all right, so those are kind of like red flags that we can look out for in relationships. Is there manipulation going on? Is there obsessiveness going on? Is there two-faced business going on, like putting up a facade?
We also missed controlling.
Ooh.
And jealousy.
Okay.
We missed two key ones.
Yeah, controlling and jealousy is a bit. Go more in depth about that. Like
about controlling.
About controlling. Being controlling.
So controlling can also be with the obsessive part of it, but like controlling, like basically controlling the other person, right? Like, oh, you can't go out and do this because I don't like this person that's there. Or, you can't do this because I'm not there with you. It's kind of like, or you can't wear this because I don't like this color. Like just so like it has to be their way and only their way is right in that controlling aspect or the relationship aspect of it, right? Like you can't say you don't love me because you don't write me letters every day telling me you do. Like, or little stuff like that, I guess you could say. Yeah,
for sure. So when you say controlling, it's more like taking the reins on unnecessary things.
Yeah, and it could be bigger things too, but
it could be, yeah. Like the relationship in general, like they could be, even in friendships. Even in friendships, this can be applied. Someone can wear the pants in the friendship too.
Yes, they can.
And they can leave. And the thing is there's nothing wrong in general with taking leadership in a relationship, because even in friendships, one person is going to be more, I guess, dominant and one's going to be more submissive. And even in friendships, in relationships, it's it takes place in different areas, right?
Yes.
But in friendships, you can take leadership in even in the friendship, and that can turn into toxic leadership, which then becomes controlling.
Yes,
because there's now leadership. Then there's controlling.
Yeah, because now at that point, if it's not going your way, you're like, well, why are we doing it this way? Or, or why are we going over here? Or, I told you, let's go this way. Or, just little things, I guess. Just little things like that, yeah. Right.
So when the leadership starts to become, how you can tell if leadership starts to become more controlling is if they're nitpicky. They're, like you said, something's not going their way, and they're not willing to like sit down with you and communicate and like come to a resolution about that. And they're just like they're just driving. They're not asking you for any direction. They're not allowing you to co-pilot anything. They're just driving home, and they're leading without any sort of partnership in that relationship. So we've listed off controlling, just abuse in general, whether that's physical, mental, emotional, or verbal. Manipulation, which is kind of along the same thing as controlling. And then there was being two-faced, having a facade. And there was one more thing that we talked about. Oh, obsessiveness.
Yes.
And being obsessive. Either being obsessed with the person or being obsessed with the relationship. One thing that I learned relatively recently within the last couple years is you can be in love with the idea of a person and not actually be in love with the person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of how it went.
Yeah.
Towards the end of my relationship, yeah.
Yeah. So we can both relate on that note. Like being in love with the idea of the relationship or being in love with the relationship more than the actual person itself that you're in the relationship or friendship with.
Yeah.
That creates toxicity immediately.
To the roof, yes.
To the roof, yeah. Right? So, and that brings up a good point. Like, you can place yourself in a friendship, or you can lead yourself into a relationship and immediately be toxic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, toxicity doesn't just start growing like 6 months into a relationship or even like down the road. It can start immediately, yeah, like because someone doesn't just like go into a relationship and start being toxic.
Yeah.
It can happen that way, but usually people go into a relationship already toxic.
Yeah.
And already expressing those red flags. And this is where like we're going to start like talking about how to like discern these red flags, and how to like identify if you are in a toxic relationship. And that is just like starting off being honest with yourself and taking a step back from the relationship or the friendship and researching red flags. Like just go online. Like I can go online right now and I can type in, what are some red flags, if I can spell correctly, flags in a relationship? Behavior, breached boundaries, gaslighting, communication, they talk badly about their exes. Oof, that's a big one. Substance abuse, being secretive, that's also a huge one. Abuse, they call you names in arguments.
Yeah.
What are you going to say?
I would say, oh yeah, the trust. The trust being secretive. Trust.
Mm-hmm.
The trust issue was difficult too. In the relationships.
Yeah.
In the friendships and relationships, trust is a big aspect, right? Or us being, people of feelings, trust comes with the security of someone being able to, keep your secrets, or, trust them to, can you hold on to this for me, and, don't take the money out, or hold on my wallet, don't take the money out of it. I trust you with that. Or I trust you to have my back during time of sadness, time of anger, time of when someone gets upset about something, or, in that aspect.
Right, true. What, like, without going into, like, details or, like, specifying what the secret was, like, how, like, did you know about, like,
what the secret was?
The secret was?
I did.
And they did. You did. And they just didn't bother to.
They didn't know that I knew. They didn't know that I knew what they were doing behind my back. But like I said, I was so blinded with love that I didn't. Not that I didn't care, but I didn't want the argument. I didn't want the I'm mad at you, you're mad at me, don't talk to me. I did not. I was, like I said, I was so in love with this person. I wanted to talk to this person every day. I wanted to be on good terms. I mean, I didn't get to see them unless we were in school, or, because my family didn't like that. They didn't, like the whole fact of, the relationship not being godly. And so it was hard, especially because we were so young as well. I mean, I was 14, 15, 16 years old when this happened. So it was yeah. That's crazy to think about right now. That was so crazy that I had to mention 14 years old. Oh, no.
I know. Those high school relationships are...
Yeah, but it sucked, though. It sucked. I know it was a high school relationship, but that really sucked. I mean, I know people can say puppy love, and it was at first, but now growing up and seeing relationships now, too, I can say, like, no, those were feelings. Those were true, literal, I'm gonna marry you one day feelings. So, at such a young age, but it's okay.
That's, well, the whole marrying part, something I actually can't personally relate to.
Yeah.
I had high school flings and I had high school relationships. I didn't have serious ones though.
Yeah, this one was serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you can literally go onto Google and you can just type in what are some red flags, and these are the first 9 ones that come up. And oh look, there's a pull down tab of 15 more. Please reconnect.
I wonder if they can hear us. No.
Okay. Oh, I reconnected. Good. Jeez, we have so many problems every single week. Lack of trust. Their attitude changes on a dime. Ooh, bipolar. Mm-hmm. Dishonesty, abusive behavior, lack of compromise, codependency, anger outbursts, love bombing. I don't know what that means. Constant conflict. Love bombing or rushing into a relationship too quickly. Oh, interesting. Often with grand gestures and signs of emotional manipulation can be a big red flag. Okay, so just dive bombing into a relationship.
Literally, I'm in love with you, the first date type of thing.
Right?
Yeah.
Or like they want to
move in together the first date.
Right? I'm like, heck no.
Hold on. My lease isn't over.
Especially in like, it's paused again. I think it's just because of the latency. Anyways, we'll sum it up here pretty quick. But like, if they, especially in Christian circles or in Christian relationships, like if they mention, if they want to like kiss on like, or I don't know. I think it's the latency, or maybe it's like too many things are going on at once.
No way. You guys are gonna have to get a monitor, like the big PC computer.
Yeah, probably. It says the connection is excellent. Excellent, my butt.
Yeah, you guys
it's
are gonna
not
have to get
excellent.
the computer aspect of this to keep it rolling.
Yeah, I mean this is a gaming laptop. It should keep.
But have you seen Isaiah's? He's got a gaming laptop. He's got all of the top-notch stuff, and still has a massive.
Yeah. He has an actual PC.
Yeah.
True. He also probably has a backup stream as well.
Yeah, that's a different story.
What's it like? What's he even doing? Like, what's it? Well, I mean, it's still live. It's just it's not popping up on my encoder, which is weird. Okay, let's just keep going. So, like I said, look it up on Google. You have plenty of red flags. So do like step back in your friendship, in your relationship. Step back and do a self-assessment. Like do a relationship assessment. Is there any red flags? If there are, even if there's just one red flag, like don't scrutinize it, but like, and don't go ham on the other person.
Yeah.
But like, if there's a red flag, address it.
Yeah.
And see where that goes. Go with the flow and address it kindly, address it respectably, but address it nonetheless and see where that goes. If it goes south when you address something and you try to establish open communication about the things that are rubbing you the wrong way, or that you see in the relationship that's not okay, that's another red flag that you should be addressing. But if they're willing to, you know, if they're willing to come alongside you and help overcome that red flag in the relationship or the friendship, that's a good sign. That's a green flag, and that should be a reason to move on in the relationship or the friendship. If they're not willing to admit that about themselves, and if they're not willing to cut it out, if they're not willing to do that, then that should be
it's just a sign of immaturity.
It is
Of emotional immaturity.
Right. And it's a sign that they're not willing to grow.
Yes.
They're not willing to grow the relationship.
And maybe they know how to build a relationship with the person, but they have no relationship with God. So sometimes that is hard because they can't handle their emotions as well as, you know, not saying I can handle my emotions any better than anyone else, but I know who has my back and who I can give if I'm angry to right away. You know, my anger and my worries are not in my hands. I'm not even angry, but, you know, my worries are not in my hands. If I'm worried about us, you know, not working out, or if you're telling me, hey, you need to fix this, all right, I'm gonna get back to you on that. Let's not. I'm sorry for doing that. You know, I'm sorry. Let me go talk to my therapist, and we will work on this. Right. Thank you for letting me know. That'd be probably the mature way, but yeah. But if someone doesn't, in that aspect, in that way, do that, then yeah, it's probably one, they're, you know, can't communicate well, and then two, they probably need to, their walk is probably not looking like yours right now, or they're not really as in their prayer room as much as they say, you know. Right. Their bio probably looks more than their prayer room, so that's also another thing too.
When it comes to identifying these red flags in yourself, what do you think the best first step is towards that? Because it's really easy to point out the log, or the speck in someone else's eye, the red flags in someone else. Yes. But it's extra hard to even see the huge log that's in your own eye, that's, you know, the red flags about yourself, and it's even harder to come to terms and admit that about yourself. So especially especially us Christians, like, what do you think the approach would be towards that?
So in this is speaking through experience. In my past relationship, this is without me really walking the walk. It took me until our relationship was over, and maybe a year or so even after, till one day, I don't know, I was thinking about it and went through all of our messages, and I was seeing what I was saying to that person as much as what they were saying to me. I was looking back at what I was writing, and I was like, why did I say that? Why was I acting like that? Like, but it's because I was so hurt, I was blinded, and then also in love, I was blinded. I wasn't even realizing that I was also portraying my hurt onto that person. Right. So, but as someone who now follows God, I think it's just more of reflecting, right? And not being an obsessive reflector, like, but maybe after, you know, an argument or a conversation that you two have, like, even just looking at yourself like, okay, when they said that, and I got a little upset when I said that, why did I get upset? You know, like, okay, what did I say? Like, did I say something that was wrong? Or, you know, and just kind of reflecting, and obviously asking the Holy Spirit to guide you in those conversations, in the conversations that are going to be hard, in the conversations that are going to be a little upsetting or a little hurtful, or, you know, bring back some stuff that you had no clue you still had. But in that aspect, it's just more of you realizing who you're walking with now, and making sure that that's why, you know, people say to keep that in the center.
Right.
because that's where the level ground's going to come from. We're human.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to have hurt feelings. We're going to have stuff come up all the time, and we're going to overreact sometimes. And,
Absolutely.
even sometimes our pastors say they overreact, and they're pastors. And it's not a bad thing. It's just we're human. We're human, and we have feelings. And so just realizing that who's the center, who's our foundation, and always going back to that will always give you the answer, or the answer you don't want to hear too. Like, hey, you should probably be treating this person better. You're like, I thought I was.
Right.
I thought I was. Why? And then, being revealed that every day.
So basically the closer you or the like the deeper you go in your faith, and the closer you pursue or the further you pursue God, the closer you get to him, the more things about you that are going to be revealed that is not Christ-like, that is not godly. Because the closer you get to something, you're going to start rubbing together. And the things that the sharp edges that are exposed, and it's going to hurt a little bit, right? But those things are going to be filed down, and those impurities and those things that are not godly, those sharp edges are going to be rounded out, and they're going to become more godly. So there's that step. There's that step of just drawing near to the Lord and seeking him, and seeking first the kingdom. And then those things will be revealed to you, and you'll be able to address them with the Lord. The second thing is just honestly laying down a little bit of your pride and asking the person you're in the relationship with, or even asking your friends around you in your circle of influence, hey, like, what are my toxic traits? Like, do I have toxic traits to begin with? What are some red flags that you see in me? And if you give your friends the opportunity to be honest, they will be honest. And sometimes a little bit too honest and kind of brutally honest, but it's going to be for your benefit. And it might hurt. Hopefully they give it to you a little, give it to you a little soft, but it may hurt a little bit or a lot when they first tell you. But if you come at it with the perspective and the mindset, hey, if I do have any red flags, I want to address this now, so that I just want to be a better person. Yeah. And in order for you to be a better person, of course, you have to get rid of the traits and the characteristics that you carry and that you portray that aren't good and that aren't godly. So those are the kind of the first two steps that I personally would encourage you to take in order to start identifying those red flags, either in you or in the relationship or in another person in general. Let's move on to our kind of final two categories. How to start healing from toxic relationships. And I got these tips directly from Randall, who is my counselor, and we actually met in the coffee shop today. Just by accident. He was there and I was there, and I was working on the podcast, and I was like, hey, Randall, what are some what are some tips you would give to start the healing process from toxic relationships? And he gave me 4 of them. And I have 5, but these are the 4 that he said. 1, or A, recognize you are in a toxic relationship. So kind of what we were talking about, like, take steps to start realizing you're in these relationships. What are the red flags? And I kind of added to that, addressing the wounds. So like one of the ways you could realize you're in a toxic relationship is realizing that you're wounded. Like you start feeling the wounds. You start feeling that you're sick. You start feeling that you're hurt. And then you start wondering and you're curious about the root cause of that wound. Like, why am I continuing to be hurt over and over again? Maybe it's because this person is continually manipulating me or continuing to lie to me. And I'm feeling the adverse effects of those lies, of that manipulation. The second one, B, is to set boundaries. What you want to allow and what you don't want to allow. So really laying down the line, and I believe that this step comes after you recognize that you're in, because how would you even know to start setting boundaries unless you knew that you were in a toxic relationship? So these boundaries are going to start protecting your heart, and they're also going to inevitably start protecting the other person's heart from further damage. Now, them protecting their heart on their side is totally up to them. Like, you can do your part in protecting their heart from you and protecting your heart from you, right? So protecting your heart and their heart. But hopefully by example, they will start to do the same thing, and they will start to realize their traits and, you know, how the relationship is affecting them. And they'll be able to move towards healing as well. But set boundaries. And my last step, which I'll actually input this right now, is invite the Holy Spirit into the relationship. Because when you're setting boundaries, you may not even know what boundaries to start setting up in place. If you ask the Holy Spirit, he will give you those boundaries and where to draw the line real quick. He'll highlight the areas that you need to cut off. He'll even start to highlight things in you, like certain actions that you should take on your part that you should start implementing immediately. So invite the Holy Spirit into your heart and into the relationship, and he'll start making a straight path into either bettering the relationship, or he will either divide or he will conquer. He'll either help you conquer the relationship and conquer and turn that toxic relationship into a good one and a healthy one. Or if it's better for you and if it's better for the other person, he'll help you start to divide the relationship in a healthy way, and you know, start cutting that person off from your life. Without burning bridges, because that's a huge thing. You can burn bridges really easily, but just take a healthy approach to dividing that relationship up. The last one the third one that Randall gave me, the third tip, is emotional authority. So take back the authority emotionally that you gave the other person. And he used the example of a road rage incident. So if you get flipped off by this old cranky guy on the road because like you accidentally cut him off or something like that, and so he gives you the bird, and now you get mad, or you get pissed off or whatever. Your choice in how you react to someone's actions towards you creates an emotional connection. So like, this person cuts you off, or you accidentally cut someone off, they give you the bird. Now, instead of realizing that you cut them off and now you're like apologetic in your heart, instead you're angered and you're pissed off that this guy gave you the bird, and now you're angry, and now you have an emotional connection towards that person. Now, if you happen to see that person in the coffee shop the next day, or like somewhere down the road, what's your first thought?
Like, oh my gosh, that is the guy that pissed me off on the road the other day.
Yeah, exactly. And now emotionally, you'll be like, this guy.
This
Not
dude.
like, oh, what's up, guy that flipped me off on the road just like 3 days ago?
Yeah.
No, you can be like, this guy.
But-
This guy. Why do I have to see this guy in my favorite coffee shop that gave me the bird just 3 days ago? So you have an adverse emotional connection to this person. So taking back the authority emotionally from that person means simply this: choosing to disconnect yourself emotionally or from the emotion that they originally gave you. So like the old guy in the car that gave me the bird, I originally reacted in an angry way, and now I possess a angered emotion towards him. Now it's whenever I see him from now on, it's like it's just angry. Now, the next step to do would be just to take that back and be like, forgive the person, move on, disconnect yourself emotionally from that person, and then enjoy the rest of your life without having to deal emotionally with that. So, let's see. I'm still live on YouTube. Okay, good. The fourth thing is ask yourself what caused you to get in this relationship in the first place. Like, I don't know. Well,
I don't even want to say mine.
Okay. That's okay.
I mean, no, I'll say it. Mine was literally someone showing me a picture of this person and be like, do you think this person's cute? I was like, I mean, yeah. And then literally that's where it started. I didn't even know this person. We didn't have, that's one thing too, friendship. Make sure you at least know the person.
Right.
Like a friendship before a relationship is
The best.
Yeah, it's key, because if you don't know how to be friends with somebody, how are you supposed, like, you can't even go out and chill at the restaurant and laugh about, taking a silly picture with each other, or, you eating crap trying to walk into the restaurant because you hit the curb or something,
I have to address that though, because my ex relationship, my previous relationship that I was in, her and I were best friends before we got into a relationship. And it was because we were so close. We were like almost brother and sister. Like we were like, we knew the ins and outs of each other. We knew each other like the back of our hand. And it was because of that when we started entertaining the idea of a relationship, especially because during that time, like, we were really into like the whole idea of like, God, like, give me a sign that this person is the one. Like, is this the one? God, just give me a sign.
Please.
And then the first sign that comes along that this girl was the one for me, I attached my whole freaking identity to this confirmation, this word, which wasn't even from God at all. It was from someone who had like a prophetic gift. So it was prophetic manipulation. So I took this word for real. I attached my whole identity, my whole persona to it, and I went with it. I was like, God, thank you for this confirmation. It's time to go ham. I love bombed, or what was that term?
Love bombing. Love bombing.
I love bombed into this relationship on the basis of this confirmation that wasn't even from the Lord.
Yeah.
So I became obsessed with this person because her and I were incredibly great friends before this. And then the moment I got a confirmation that she was the one which it made sense because if we knew each other like the back of each other's hands, which we did, right? Then why not? It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And like it should be like that.
Yes.
But we got into the relationship on the wrong mode, or not the wrong motive, but on the wrong pretense.
Yeah, because I guess there is still a build-up, though, right? When you're a friendship. Because, like, yeah, friendship, relationship, two different things. You're going to know different things about each other now.
Yes.
Now you're completely relearning a different aspect of somebody.
Yeah.
Right? So that was probably the love bombing aspect, right? Just straight going into this relationship thinking that it was going to be the same thing as a friendship, and it was not, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
Because, like, once you, like, if you've spent, like, a few years as best friends, treating each other like friends, and then you just flip it and you start calling it a relationship instead of a friendship, but you still treat it as a friendship instead of an actual relationship.
It's just as much as those words were a little hard to catch on to. That's exactly how it is. It's hard to catch up onto it.
Right. So, yes, like it's better to go into a relationship having a foundation of friendship first, but make sure that when you switch over from being friends into a relationship, that you actually establish the relationship part. Like, you're deciding now to go to be intimate with this person and to go deeper emotionally.
Yes.
With this person, and eventually even spiritually with this person. So, make sure you're going into that relationship on the right pretense. So I mentioned keep the Holy Spirit and invite the Holy Spirit into these relationships. And especially if you're on the on the healing side of the relationship, like you've cut the relationship off and now you're healing from it, inviting the Holy Spirit into this healing process is absolutely crucial, because healing on your own just the majority of it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Like there's some parts that you can heal on your own without the Holy Spirit. I mean, non-Christians, worldly people, they do it all the time.
Yeah.
But there's a part of them that never heals.
Yeah. Mine took me like without God in the picture. Mine took me about maybe a year, maybe even 2 years to really heal from. Because I did keep seeing this person, a bunch of stuff. But that being said, though, it was also hard because of seeing her all the time. But it was also hard because I obviously didn't know how to. I was 16 years old. I did not know how to heal from it. My healing was, going and getting drunk and drowning it with that, or drowning it with other things, people, friends, anything that could drown it out. But I did heal with realizing, that it wasn't because of me that I, was cheated on, right? So that wasn't because of me that, this person couldn't handle themselves, or this person felt like this, or, and all that kind of stuff. So I healed without God, with the whole not realizing, realizing that it wasn't because of me that for her I wasn't enough. But with God, it healed me in such a way where now I don't have to even think about it and feel that hurt anymore. Like sometimes it is hard for me to talk about this stuff because I'm so healed from it now that it's hard for me to even put myself back in those shoes sometimes, because God has healed me from so much and has rebuilt my trust for people and has rebuilt my love for people, or just looking at people and not thinking, oh, they're going to be doing the same thing over and over and over again, just like the last person did. But now it's okay, you're a new person. You are a new personality. You are new. And especially now they're following God. Now we have God in the middle of this. So I'm not going to portray my past hurts on you because God has freed me.
That's good.
From everything that I was holding on to. So, or everything that, caused me to have some trauma or, some emotional wounds and scars that would reopen if someone were to say, something as simple as where are you going? Something as simple as that can be like, why do you need to know? Why do you need to know where I'm going? Why? Yeah, I did freeze. Joey put froze. Oh, maybe I'm shining now.
Oh, there you go. Okay. I think. It's catching up, I think.
Oh, yeah, it is catching.
Okay. We're back. All right. So, Chewy, let us know. What?
I was going to say such thing.
Oh, yeah. So one of the things is one of the things that can't be healed or taken care of properly without the Holy Spirit's help is soul ties. And when you are physically intimate with someone and a relationship, that's why it hurts so much. And that's soul tie.
Yeah.
They basically took with them a piece of your heart, and you took from there a piece of theirs. Mm-hmm. So it's a two-way street. But when it froze again, I think. It's just the latency. But anyways, so the Holy Spirit is going to help you bring back the pieces of your heart and restore the pieces of your heart that you left with that other person when you broke up, when you ended that relationship. And that can be a painful process. Sometimes that can even be more of a painful process than the breakup in general. Mm-hmm. Like getting those pieces back, because if someone goes long enough without receiving emotional healing, when that piece of them comes back to them and is restored back to them, I don't know why it hurts so much. Sometimes it can be relieving, but for me, when I received those pieces of my heart back that I left with other people, it hurt. Yeah. And then only until like the restoration completed did I feel joy and that peace and that comfort again, because that was the Holy Spirit taking over. But like getting that piece of my heart put back and fit back in, it hurt, because if you go long enough, when that thing comes back again, you realize you didn't even know it was gone. Mm-hmm. Like sometimes you didn't even know it was gone. And then that comes back and you're like, I've missed this. Mm-hmm. Like I missed that part of me, and now it's back. And sometimes I don't know what to do with it. Yeah. But so those are the 5 things to start healing from toxic relationships. Really quickly before we end, I'm just gonna go over how to prevent toxic relationships from forming in the future. 1 John 4:1-6 says, "Test all spirits." That also means test all friends and test all significant others. It's okay to gently let down other people if it means protecting your heart.
That's a hard one to do, though.
It's a hard one to do.
It's a hard one to do, but yes, it is very much true, because it feels selfish.
It does.
It feels really selfish, but it's not.
It's not.
I honestly think it's a little selfless, because, right? Yeah,
selfless. Because
you're now putting yourself first.
You are.
In a respectful way.
It's selfish because you're putting yourself first, but it's selfless because it's preventing future hurt.
Yes. That's exactly.
And this is a step to take when you think you're getting into a toxic relationship or a friendship. It's okay to gently let other people down if it means protecting your heart and protecting theirs. So, let's see here. Make sure we're still caught up here. Matthew 7:15-16 says, you will recognize, or basically says, you will recognize false prophets by their fruit. So you will recognize false friends and false relationships and toxic relationships by the fruits.
Yeah.
So if, like I said, be aware of those red flags and learn those red flags before you get into your next relationship. Proverbs 4:14-17 basically says, avoid the path of the wicked. So stop hanging around those crowds. Stop hanging around people that you know are toxic. Just cut them out and just leave them be. Second Corinthians 6:14-18 basically says, do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. And so for Christians, that means be equal morally and spiritually. For non-Christians, simply be equal in morals and values. They don't know the implications of being spiritually yoked yet, so that doesn't apply to them. The last note I want to end on is draw closer to the Lord, and He will give you a heart for broken people. Try to exercise compassion and open-mindedness with people in your life, and be concerned for their well-being as well as yours. So keep their heart in mind as well as keeping your heart in mind. And this will either, like I said, when you do this, you're keeping the Holy Spirit in your relationship by doing this. And the implication and the consequences of this is either going to be one of two things. Is either you're going to realize this relationship is too far gone and too toxic, and you're going to want to break it off, and you're going to want to divide it up. Or this is going to start helping the healing process and the repairing of the relationship, so that this relationship can become a good thing. Lastly, when faced by a toxic person, either ignore them and walk away, or extend blessing and kindness, because taking away feeds adversity, giving suppresses it. So it's just like the same thing as like love your enemies. Like, just love them to death. Just love them to death. Like, giving of yourself suppresses adversity, and eventually it will pay off. And there will be some instances though where that's not God's plan, and it will actually not be a good thing. And so the Holy Spirit will let you know when you've given enough of yourself and it's time to separate. Yeah. But just know that giving of yourself and then them not receiving it, and them, it backfiring on them, the giving of yourself does not go to waste, because that's still a seed planted for later growth. It might not be now. They might not take it well. Yep. They might shun it or absolutely despise you for it. But just know that it is a seed planted for a future growth. Mm-hmm. But yeah, anything you wanted to add?
I just want to leave you off on another verse. It's a short little verse. I don't know if you said it already, but probably not. Ephesians 4:32. Nope. Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as Christ God forgave you.
That's good. That's good. Come on, somebody. If you guys enjoyed and was blessed by this episode, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time for a future episode. But until then, stay blessed, stay strong in the faith, stay loving and kind towards one another, and just keep being awesome. I don't know. Just keep being all the things. All right, guys. Peace.